Whatever I could do to just null the pain and to just completely black out from who I was, I would do it.
But I have the fear that if I open up that door, that I don't know if I'd be able to close it again.
I remember being too drunk to be able to drive home and going home with someone that was a predator.
Welcome to Scenic Route. I'm your host, Christine Nicholson, the Scenic in Scenic Route. This is a safe road to recovery where alcoholics, addicts of all types, and victims of trauma can feel safe sharing their story. And today we have another journey for you. Who you just heard is my friend Andie Ayala. She's a 39-year-old new mother who, like me, traded in her old party life for motherhood. Now, I started out with the best intentions, sober for years before I relapsed in 2020 without a recovery support system. Andie is a sweet, loving, caring person who I pray won't make my same mistake. Now, Andie was apprehensive about coming on at first, but as you'll see, she tackles and overcomes a lot of difficult hurdles that she's never shared with anyone before. I'm so proud of her strength. Today, her hope is that her candor can help out even just one person. Who knows, maybe that person is you. Here's Andie Ayala, y'all. So hello, Andie.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Hello.
Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Oh man, thanks for inviting me.
Oh man, I'm just glad. It's been how many years since we last seen each other? I think.
Man. I was trying to think the other day when we met. I mean, it's been, oh my gosh.
At least 10 years, it feels
Yeah.
like. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Well, I'm glad that you got a chance to check out Scenic Route.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to ask you, because how I found out about you was on social media,
Mm-hmm.
and you had mentioned that you were sober. How long have you been sober?
I guess the last time I checked, it was like 444 days.
So you're well over a year.
Yes.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And when did you first realize that you had a problem with drinking or drugging, if that was even?
I guess when I noticed I had to go out every night. Is when I want to say that was like when I turned 30. I'm about to be 40. So it's about 10 years ago.
What was your life like on any given day? What was the party girl Andie's life like?
Well, when I was 30, I think I was just about to turn 31. I had the biggest heartbreak of my life, and I was dealing with grief. So the grief, I think, was the catalyst for the heartbreak, and because I just dove into drinking. That's how I coped with grief. I just dove head first into my addiction, both drugs and alcohol and sex. I whatever I could do to just null the pain and to just completely black out from who I was, I would do it.
I understand. I've been there, done that.
Yeah.
And did you have a drug of choice?
Cocaine.
Cocaine.
That white girl, she's such a bitch. Just kidding.
I think I've tried everything but meth.
Oh, I never tried it. I never went to the hard stuff. I was too much of a... I know my addictive personality.
Yeah.
So I knew if I tried meth or heroin, I knew that I would be dead.
Yeah.
So I was never going to play around with that, ever.
Did you find that you had an addictive personality even earlier than 30?
Yeah, I would say, I would have little obsessions, but they were, when I was a kid, like with David Bowie, and,
Yeah, you love that David Bowie.
I do. He's just an inspiration to me. Yeah, I guess I never really noticed it, but I would have those kind of little obsessions. But I don't know if it was like an addiction. Addiction runs in my family. My grandfather was alcoholic. I guess my dad is. I never met my dad. And I'm a bit estranged from my mother. My grandmother raised me, so she is a saint. She did the best she could.
Did you have means of trying to control yourself when you were going through this phase, or were you just all out?
No, I was pretty much all out. Man, when I think about it now, I cringe because I was just so unkind to so many people because I was just like a walking, open, pulsating, broken heart. I was awful to so many people. And I mean, but at the same time, like, I was just like a party girl.
Right.
But when I think about it now, it's just like, ugh, it's just so awful.
Okay, so basically you were an all-out party girl for at least 10 years. You didn't really try to moderate it. There wasn't like, you know what, I'll just do it on weekends, or I'll just do it on...
No, man, I would go into work, like, hungover, looking like probably a hot mess. And as soon as the shift was done, they'd be like, hey, you want to go out for a drink? And they'd be like, yeah. And if we got into some cocaine, I probably would have like been up all night and then slept, and then until I went back to work and just had that distraction, and then went back to doing it. It was awful.
How do you feel that it's affected your life overall?
I think that when you experience trauma, especially at an early age, it makes you very alert. Even whenever I was in the thick of it, even when I got myself into some pretty hairy situations, I was very strong. I wasn't afraid to show my teeth if someone was trying to like become a predator or you know, make me a prey. I was like, the fuck you are.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
And I think that was because I've had predators before in the past, and I knew what it looked like.
You had a background similar to mine where I had been molested. I was probably around 6 or 7. And then I was raped at around 12. And then again at 13, and alcohol was involved. So I sometimes wonder if, I mean, that at 13, I didn't know what to do with alcohol. I was just trying to impress.
It really does.
So
I mean, I know that you are strong and that you are, you know, but I just like, I guess like being a new mom, I just think about it and I just want to like murder whoever,
Yeah.
you know, like.
That's sweet. I'm very grateful for the help that I've gotten, you know. And I just hear, sweetheart.
I know. I'm sorry. I get like
it's okay.
I get like the mama bear.
It's okay. That's sweet. No, I'm glad that I was able to take on so much therapy. I mean, you've mentioned that you had trauma and you've had to work through it, but before you worked through it, you had to party through it.
I only went to therapy once, and that was that was for the heartbreak. But then I guess I just never finished it, and I just was just so blind, and I think that I didn't want anybody to help me. I couldn't handle help at the time.
Was this a heartbreak? Was this a breakup, or was this a death? Was it both?
It was both. So my godfather, who was like my father, he was my father to me. He had died, and then afterwards, because I had drank, and I mean, looking back on it now, there was never really, I guess, any true connection, but I had thought that he strung the moon.
Yeah.
And then he was just like, well, you're pretty sloppy, so I'm out. And I was just like, I couldn't, it was like being satisfied, because he was a nice guy, you know. And so I just couldn't handle it.
You know, I've been the reason behind breakups because of my drinking too.
Yeah.
So I would always initiate the breakup because to me, I felt like, you know, it was going to happen anyway. I was a mess as well. I joined the club with you. I can't believe that we were both messes at the same time and we didn't ever cross paths. I mean, I think the most we had.
partied a couple times at the chat.
A couple times at the chat.
But, I mean, they never really got crazy.
Yeah, we didn't get crazy because I didn't know.
And also because we were around that beautiful group of people, Nick and Kara and Cammie,
so
you know, they're not gonna let us act like a fool, you know. So that's why. I mean,
that's true.
Shout out to that group.
Absolutely. I love them. Yeah. That's my Fort Worth Southside crew.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. I couldn't act a fool. That's why I would always have to carry a water bottle full of vodka in my purse. And I'd pretend like, oh, the only things I'm drinking is what I order at the bar. So I'd order like, oh, I'll have maybe 1 or 2 or 3 shots. And then I go to the bathroom and just down like a bottle.
Dang, you're smarter than I was. I would spend so much money. That's the thing that I'm probably like the most sad about. It's all the money I spent.
Yes, that's a big one.
Yeah.
I did horrible things. Not only did I spend my money, I spent his money. I've stolen. I was bad. I went to the depths because I it was a good 20 years on and off of doing this, and finally realizing that it's just, I want to be able to be a good person. Like, I wasn't recognizing myself anymore. I was, I was a thief. I was a manipulator, liar, cheater, everything. Did you ever feel like that you just didn't recognize yourself anymore?
Oh, absolutely. But that was the point. That's what I was trying to do. I mean, I have huge abandonment issues, and I'm also dealing with those issues now. Being a new mom is that I never understood why my mother couldn't, or.
So you still haven't talked to your mom, even though you have a 9-month-old now?
I feel like she also needs some therapy, or if both of us could go to therapy, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
But she just does not want to ever. She's always going to be the victim. And I'm like, okay, well, I was a kid.
Hopefully one day, there's always.
Yeah. Every journey, who knows where it's going to take you. So.
Exactly.
She's not ready. I get it. I get when people need to be ready, because I wasn't ready whenever I've had friends come up to me and be like, hey, you really need help. And I was just like, shh.
Our famous last words, I'm fine. I'm fine. I do that all the time.
Yeah. I mean, and I'd probably like chill out for like a night or two and then just go like straight back into it, like deep into it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was scary. I mean, I'm super lucky. To be alive.
Tell me about it.
I mean,
did you ever have any run-ins with car accidents?
I mean, I've messed my car up. My car is still messed up because I've had it since 2009. And it's embarrassing now, because I'm like, oh man, you were so dumb.
I feel you. I'm surprised that I'm alive too. I had a couple of close calls in the car, and just doing a spin out and facing the wrong way, in traffic on a highway.
Oh gosh, I've never done a highway, but yeah, I've done that where you accidentally go the wrong way. But like, thank God we're in the middle of the night where nobody was out, and oh man, I just, like I say, like cringe thinking about just like how careless and reckless I was. Reflecting on all that, it's just like, I don't know if I would have been as grateful for the things that I have in my life now if I wasn't like at the very pits and the bottom of hell that I put myself through.
Exactly.
So I just wasn't very kind to myself. I didn't think that I deserved that kind of happiness that I have now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you think that stemmed from childhood?
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Mainly mom and dad.
Yeah. Well, I've never met my dad.
That's just not even on the table for you.
No. Well, I mean, I know his name, but he's never bothered. I mean, my mom told me that he married someone the very same week that I was born.
You didn't feel like you deserved that happiness that you now feel. How did you jump from getting into that party mode and doing it to hide pain like a lot of us do? We are really masking pain, so much pain. Yeah. And I remember you look like you had it together. I didn't even know. I had no idea that you had any problems. And so...
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's like a Hispanic thing or like just my family thing, but we don't talk about problems.
Mm.
We don't talk about... Because like my family has known suffering,
Yeah.
And so I felt like, what right do I have to be bitching and moaning about? Like, I'm lucky I can work. I'm happy. Well, I wasn't happy, but, in my mind, I kept telling myself these things. You know? It's like my suffering compared to their suffering is nothing. So what do I have to be with that?
Wow. That's what makes you so brave for coming on. And to the other Hispanic women out there that are listening and think that, you know, they're the only ones, now they know they're not alone.
Yeah. I mean, and like, even talk about going to therapy. I think it's also like a stigma, you know, especially if like you have like mental health, you know. I have like problems with anxiety. I've always had my whole life. But like, yeah, that's not really talked about, you know. You don't really talk about things like that. You just go to church and pray to God, and that's your therapist.
Right.
And I get that, and that's also like was a very huge help to me. But I mean, but whenever you have, you know, these abandonment issues and all these things, it's like sometimes it just doesn't cut it, you know. And then you find a home in other people that trying to find homes at the bar top, and they want to buy you shots, and you know, and then you're like, oh wow, I don't feel this pain anymore. And it's like, well, let's just do this for a while.
Exactly.
You don't have to go and, you know, talk about your problems.
Therapy in a bottle. Now that you've been well over a year sober, how did you jump from that party girl to where you're at now?
The thing that I was searching the most without me ever knowing was that I wanted unconditional love. And I get emotional.
Don't we all?
And I thought that I wasn't deserving of that. When I found Casey, which is Cecilia's dad, he was the kindest and the sweetest and the most patient, and he never told me you need to chill out. He just showed me by example, and I was like, oh, well, maybe I should start being a better person.
Yeah.
So, and then the whole quarantine happened, and it happened with him, and I just didn't feel like I needed to drink as much. So I started to like not drink for like a week. Then it would go from like a month, and then it would go for like maybe 3 or 6 months.
Wow.
Yeah. And because I was just happy just to be with him, because he showed me unconditional love.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And then when we got pregnant, and as soon as that strip turned blue, I was like, I'm done with that life. And a huge part of the pain that I was also trying to drown was that I was told that I probably wasn't going to have kids.
You mentioned God a couple times. How's your relationship with God changed over the years?
If I ever got into any scary situations, whenever I was like blacked out, or, you know, it was just convenient when he was there for my convenience, you know. And now it's like, as soon as I saw Cecilia was born, she was born 3 pounds.
Wow.
And as soon as I saw her face, I thought I was looking at the face of God, because I was just like it just knocked me over, like you knocked me over with a feather. And
She is precious.
And she cried, and I was like, thank you, you know. And then I knew that she had to be in the NICU for so long. It was awful. And I made a covenant with God that I was like, I'll never drink again. If you just be there for her. You don't have to be there for me no more. I'm done asking for favors. Just you watch her, please.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm so happy for you where you're at now. Besides Casey and, of course, Cecilia, are there any other resources that got you to stop?
The thing that was the hardest for me is what I should say is asking for help.
And so, and there have been days that were really hard. Like even with Cecilia, not because of her, but they were days that I wanted to go back to the old chat room and order my scotch and soda.
Yeah.
And just chill out for a second. I'm sure some people can do that, you know, but I have the fear that if I open up that door, that I don't know if I'd be able to close it again. So I just don't even want to mess with it.
That's good. I'll tell you the truth. I've tested it so many times that I can tell you, if you have an addictive personality like me, then what you are doing is right. Yeah. Because I did test that theory out to see how would it be if I just went out.
Yeah.
It just went right. I just ended up right where I left off.
Yeah.
5 shots of liquor in the morning when I woke up just to get started. I mean, it doesn't get any better. But I was going to mention, if, because of your situation, you're at home now and you have a young baby who's only 9 months old. If you ever have a need or time, like I'm here and I have Zoom meetings that I go to, like they're all women's meetings. There's also mixed meetings as well. But if you ever want to not feel alone, you can always reach out to me.
Yeah.
And if you want to catch a meeting, we can always catch a meeting on the phone. You don't have to go anywhere, because that's really hard for moms to have to get out to a meeting.
I know. I was like having like anxiety. I knew that doing this was important for me because I don't really talk about, especially not to Casey. Casey's never been a drinker, so he doesn't understand, but he's very open and, but I just didn't know how to start that dialogue. And that's a huge thing too, I think, for a lot of people that are like me that just doesn't know how to ask for help or, know how to talk about it. We just didn't know how to start the dialogue, So I think that's been a major thing for me as well.
It's so good that you're doing that now.
Yeah.
I'm really proud of you. You should be a really proud mom. I know you're already proud because you got a beautiful baby.
Oh man, she's like winning the lottery.
I love that. And then you've got a great man who sounds like he's a normie like my man, and he's great too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so good to have that support. So you've got a support system already built in.
Yeah.
I'm just extending that for you. The offer is always open.
Oh man, yeah. I thank you. For real, because like I said, I just didn't. You just don't know how to ask for help when you're, I guess stubborn like I am.
Yeah, it's all good. Well, we are going on to. We talked about the positive things in your life, which I love. Now we're going to move on to self-assurance. I did a video a couple weeks back on self-assurance. And I want you to tell me, what are some things that you love about yourself today?
Oh man, I was going to tell you, whenever I saw that video of you taking off your makeup and taking off your wig, I almost said no to coming to this because I just like, I just felt so fat from when it's been so hard for me to take off that baby weight and like losing the hair from, I know it's normal for women to lose their hair after pregnancy, but I just like, I feel like a troll.
When he's
but when I saw that, I saw that, I was like, oh man, that's why I called you a badass. I was like, what a badass. I was like, you know what? I just like, that's just vanity, and and Casey just like, shut up, because you're beautiful. And just like, I don't feel it. But, I was just being a brat, I was just like, what am I talking about? I'm just gonna go.
I'm so glad.
Yeah. So,
so after you saw me be a troll on TV, what did you think? I'm playing out. What do you love about yourself now?
Oh man, I think that I'm the most proud of myself is that I was able to take that 3-pound little baby girl and just nurse her with my own body back to health. And she just looks to me, and for anytime she's scared or wants comfort, she just runs to me, and I'm just so proud that I am like the mother that I always wanted.
So I love that. I'm so happy for you. I really can't say it enough.
I know.
I want another tissue.
Emotional talking about my baby.
I know, it's okay. I feel you. I love my babies, and I was the same exact way. I still am. I still love my babies. I act like I stopped, but no, I still love my babies. It just gets. You know what? I'm lying. I'm saying it gets easier.
Oh,
it gets easier in some respects.
Oh,
but
man. When she starts crying, oh no,
you're in trouble.
And she's just she's always like been kind of like, what's that? Can I have that? And I'm just like, oh man, I should be able to reach it. I don't know. The eyes in the back of my head.
And doesn't it make you, all this stuff that we've done to ourselves, it really makes you, second guess our choices, because we're like, would I ever want my child to do what I did? Absolutely not,
No, I definitely, but I think that I know what I wanted. So I think that I'll try my damnedest to give her what I didn't have, as far as just like, she's always going to feel like she's unconditionally loved.
Yeah, it makes you want to be a better role model.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Once you have a baby, for sure. So,
do you ever feel like that you are going to be afraid to talk about how crazy you were? Or do you think that it would be...
That's such a great question. And I think that right now, like, they're already getting ideas when they see mommy go off and I'm on my meetings, like they know that it's about meetings, about juice that adults drink that's bad for them for the most part. So I'm trying to slowly integrate it. Like my daughter knows what alcohol is, and she's so scared that she's going to drink it on accident.
Really?
Yeah. She's like, what if I don't know? What if I do? So we try to teach them, just what's child appropriate. Yeah. But as far as like how crazy I got, I think only if it lends to them learning a lesson that they're going through.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't think they're going to volunteer that. Like, hey kids, let's talk about how
I know
mom used to cut it up. No, I'm not talking about that. But yeah, I think about things like that. Like I think I'm going to want to be pretty honest. Yeah, I don't know, because I was dealt like the raw honesty when I was little, and I think that I just remember being handed a lot of information like at such a young age, and just being like, what do I do with this? How am I supposed to do with this? It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, after being molested as a young child, I am so adamant, like I must know the parents. I'm still very, very protective over like letting them go anywhere without me, because people don't realize it, but like I was molested by childhood neighbors. They were friends. They were older friends, but they were still friends. Like my parents, how were they to know that they were going to be the predators? So I'm very careful about them hanging out, even with friends. You just never know. But anyway, I'm sorry.
No, I agree with you, and I think that if I don't even want to think about it, but I think that if I know that something's wrong, because I'm pretty good about knowing whenever if I'm around a friend or something, like knowing if they're not how they usually are, and even if they're trying to mask it, because also I did it for so long. Like I masked how I was not okay. Like you said, you couldn't tell, So I've always been pretty good about being able to tell when something's up.
Yep. We got our red flags on because we're the ones that we're really good at it. So let's see. Now what I have is what I call my shortcut answers, because, it's scenic route, shortcut, trying to be cute. What was your worst memory using?
God. I remember being too drunk to be able to drive home, and going home with someone that was a predator. And calling a friend for help because I was broke, because I spent all my money at the bar. And I called my friend, called me, and like, hey, can you please send me an Uber to this place because I need someone to come rescue me. And I know that she had already been in bed, she had to work in the morning, and I called her like at midnight, and she saved my life.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so scary.
Yeah.
I don't know the statistics. I do know that sexual assaults generally happen more often if we're drunk as well, as opposed to if we're sober. So being drunk or inebriated or using, but just not on guard as much as we should be.
Yeah.
So that's such a common memory, actually.
I mean, I don't know what I would have done if she hadn't helped me, because I was like, I had no idea where he drove us to. I had like, I had no money. I had like barely any like power in my phone, I was just like,
so glad you got out of that.
Just like, man, you lucked out.
What's the funniest story that you can remember from using or drinking? If you can remember any, I blacked out too much.
The funniest story? Oh man, I guess the funnest story was being tripped out at Bonnaroo on Molly. Stay like crowd surfing. That was fun. I mean, that's one that I'm like, okay, that's okay.
That's all right. Yeah.
It's
if we didn't have those stories, then we probably wouldn't keep drinking and drugging.
Yeah. I mean, and I used to be the dancing queen. I used to put that money in the jukebox and I had the whole place dancing. It's pretty good. It's pretty good taste in music.
I love it. Yeah, you do have great taste in music, actually. And what is there any pieces of advice that you might have heard that has helped you kind of stay sober all this time?
Stay sober. I guess you gotta be pretty honest with yourself. Communication to your support system and the people that are around you that love you. Like if you're having a day and you just you feel like you really need to, want to go out and just go back to drinking, you just gotta be like, hey, I need to be honest with you. I'm on the brink. So even just saying that, and it's just like, okay, it's not so bad no more. I'm just awesome. Being silly.
And for anybody out there who is trying to quit themselves, do you have any type of guidance or advice that you would give them as to whether or not they should stop, go? What is your feeling about that?
I mean, it's hard when it's an addiction,
Yeah.
It's like you got to really take a step back and look and to see if is the good outweighing the bad.
If the good outweighs the bad. I think that's such a great...
Because it's so simple, but then you don't really take it into account, or you don't stop and think about it,
If it's killing you, then it's time to stop.
Yeah.
And do you have any burning desires, anything on your heart that you feel that you haven't been able to touch base about yet?
I think that I am just to be kinder to myself. I'm still working on that. That's going to be a long journey for the rest of my life, I think. But I think, but now I'm knowing that I'm deserving of that kind of attention and that kind of love to myself that I didn't before. And that's what caused me to be so in it,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You definitely deserve all the best.
But even hearing that before, I couldn't hear it. It was cringy to me because I was like, no, you want to go drink? No. It's like, and now I can hear it and I can accept it.
I love that.
Yeah.
I think that's so great. Well, goodness gracious. I'm going to make sure you get back to your baby. But
I know.
I know
Separation
you miss her.
anxiety.
But thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
You are so amazing. I'm so glad that you came out here. That really took a lot.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, it really did.
I needed to do it. Yeah.
Everybody, that is Andie Ayala. And I pronounced it wrong.
Ayala.
Everybody, that's Andie Ayala.
These people, Ayala make you holla.
Ayala make you holla.
That's the way to do it.
I love that.
Yeah.
I knew I would pronounce it wrong. I'm so sorry. But that's it.